1000. I kind of want to ride one of those too. Yep. Whoa. All right, HadesOmega here. Here we are. We're riding the new KLR650. It's a little jerky. The throttle's a little jerky on and off. Oh yeah, dude. My KLR doesn't do that, man. Look at that. Oh, like it's got a little bit of a snatchy throttle to it. I don't like that, man. This is the first time I've ridden a fuel-injected KLR650. All right. The clutch is really nice. It's really smooth and light pull. I like it. I like it better than my KLR. Maybe my KLR is just old. I don't know. But it is very comfortable to stand, that's for sure. It feels like a KLR. That's what it feels like. So this is the new 2022 KLR650. Yeah, dude, I could just imagine riding this thing on some trails and stuff. It'd be freaking dope, man. I like it. It feels good. It feels like a KLR, you know? Don't stall it, don't stall it. So here you go, this is a hill test. Oh, I stalled it. I think I had it in second. Oh wow, man, all the motorcycle parking overflowed here. All right, so here we are. We're here with Team Green, Kawasaki. We're riding the 2022 Kawasaki KLR650. We're gonna go out for a demo ride here at the International Motorcycle Show in Sonoma Raceway. So here we go. See if it go over the speed bump. No problem. Let me make sure my mirrors are good. Mirrors are okay. I don't see my shoulders too much. That's what I'm gonna say. So I've never ridden the second generation KLR. I kind of briefly did for a little bit, and then I stopped. I get to ride it in the dirt a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit, okay? But it doesn't feel, it feels very much like the first generation KLR650 is what I'm gonna say. I think that's what they were going for. I think the second generation KLR650 hit that's funny, I stalled it earlier. Alright, here we go. Yep, it feels like it is not very fast, guys. I'm getting on it all the way, man, and I'm having trouble keeping up with these guys. The sporty bikes, you know. So one thing about the new KLR650, okay, I rode here on my 92 KLR650 today. One of the biggest differences is it's got a digital dash on it, alright? This is the first KLR650 to have a digital dash on it. Boy, there's a lot of wind. Yeah, so the dash has a speedometer in very big digits. It's got a trip meter on the bottom. We're doing about 70 right now. It doesn't feel too bad. It's a little vibey. I think this only still has 5 speeds. Woo! Alright. It feels very comfortable to ride though. The seat's really cushy. That's what I'm gonna say. The bike feels good between my legs. It's got a big gas tank. Honestly, I don't really know how big the gas tank is, but if it's like my KLR, I can get more than 200 miles on a tank on my KLR. Woo! Twisting it wide open, man. It's not wanting to go. Feels like a KLR. But, you know, hey, the KLR is just one of those bikes that, like, you know, every time I ride it, I'm like, oh, I enjoy it. I enjoy riding the KLR, you know. It's not very fast, you know, it's not the best bike out there, but it's a great bike to ride. It's just a kind of, like, nice do-all bike. It's very comfortable to stand. It's a pretty tall bike. I noted when I was sitting earlier that I'm almost on my tippy toes on this bike. It's pretty tall. Alright. It's a little vibey at 70 miles an hour, but so is my KLR, so we're about 65 right now. It feels 65, it feels fine, you know. It's pretty windy out right now, and I'm not getting any buffeting on my helmet. Are we slowing down here? I'm not getting a whole lot of buffeting on my helmet. I do get that on my KLR. I have this big old windscreen on mine. This one is great. The windscreen actually works really good. Yeah. Yeah, the windscreen works better than the one on my KLR. And it is pretty windy right now, I'm noticing. It's so comfortable to ride. The seat feels a little too cushy. It's typical KLR seat, you know. I did notice that when I was sitting on it earlier, that the suspension feels beefy. All right, over the years they've been upgrading the suspension on the springs on the suspension and stuff for heavier riders, because they realize, oh yeah, people are going to be loading this bike up, and heavier riders are going to be riding this thing. So I've never really had a problem with the suspension on my KLR, all right, but this, I feel, my KLR has stock suspension and it feels much softer than this. Much softer. Yeah, and it feels really comfortable to stand on it. Even more, I would say even more comfortable than my KLR. So the ergonomics, they've changed a lot from the first gen to the third gen. Like I mentioned, I've never really ridden the second gen. All I remember about the second gen is that it was really torquey, really big, and you know, lots of plastic and stuff on it. This one doesn't seem that way, and the tank, it molds into your knees really nicely. So I think, you know, other than the fuel injection update on this, they've done a lot of ergonomic changes on the bike, and I like it. I like it. It doesn't feel too vibey. It feels like about as vibey as my KLR, you know. I don't know, maybe you'll feel it after a few hours in your hands. Wow, that guy's hauling on that Pan America. But yeah, man, is it nice to ride, you know. And it's got, the controls are pretty similar to the first gen, except it's got like a push to cancel. Okay, so one thing I don't like, alright, I'll tell you this now. Woo! Well, it does kind of get up and go a little bit when you rev it. One thing about this is there's no, so you do have a fuel gauge now. That's a nice thing, okay? My KLR did not have a fuel gauge, alright? And we just went down 1 bar. But the one thing that's missing is the tachometer. There's no more tachometer. What happened to the tachometer, Kawasaki, man? You had a tachometer in the last model, and then they just ditched it. Like you don't need it anymore, you know? I like having a tachometer, okay? I kind of like seeing it move around and stuff. And this is the first time riding a KLR with a digital display on it. Oh, okay, we're gonna make a left turn here. I guess we're turning around. It shifts really good. I like the clutch. The clutch is really smooth pull on this bike. The idle seems pretty high. You cannot adjust the idle on this bike. It's just fuel injection. That's the nice thing about fuel injection. You don't have to worry about, you know, turning the fuel on and off like the old KLRs. Oh boy. Yeah. So anyway, I'm on the balls of my feet, sort of. So yeah, this bike is pretty tall. Oh, you think they can make that? I think we can make it. I think we can make it. Yeah, we'll make it. Alright, let's see how it is from some slow riding maneuvers. It's not too bad, but the throttle feels a little snatchy when riding it really slow. Yeah, I feel that the spring rate is really good, nice on this bike. Like you wouldn't really need to upgrade it, you know, unless you were going to put a lot of stuff. And I think that's what Kawasaki went for with this bike. They want you to use it for adventure riding. They want you to load it down with a bunch of camping gear and stuff, go out. an adventure ride, you know? Yeah, so it just feels like a KLR that's fuel injected. So it's full twist there, guys. Whoa, man, come on, let's go. Yeah, so hey, it's the good old KLR, man. It's back again, and it's better, okay? It feels, the ergonomics feel good on this bike. It feels really comfortable. I feel like the spring rates are better than the first gen KLR. From 92 to 2022, guys. This is a 30 years. HadesOmega is comparing a 30-year-old KLR to the most current one, all right? And it's pretty much the same. But the windscreen is great. The stock, if this is the stock windscreen, is great. I don't know if it's adjustable or not. It's got these little itty bitty turn signals on the front. It doesn't have a whole lot of power when you twist it, you know. It doesn't have a big urgency to accelerate, but it'll accelerate, you know. That's what I'm going to say. Cruising around at 45, oh, it's oh so comfortable. Yeah, it's definitely not intimidating acceleration, but hey, it'll go, man. It'll go. I really like it. Would HadesOmega buy one of these? You know what? Maybe. I still have my KLR, and I still like it. Okay, so I can't get rid of it. I can't seem to get rid of it. I always enjoy riding it, you know. But the thing is, yeah, it is a little vibey, man. I'm going like 60, 70 right now, and you can feel the vibes. You can feel it in your butt. You can feel it in the handlebars a little bit. You can feel it in your feet. It's a thumper, guys, so it's gonna vibrate a little bit. So, and like for short rides, that's okay. But you know what? For long rides, I don't think that's okay because your hands are gonna become numb after a while, you know. I don't know if this bike has any of those doohickey problems like the older KLR generations had. I did get some shots. They do have a KLR set up for adventure riding already with the luggages and everything. They must have like a lot of accessories for this bike, like lights and crash bars and all that stuff, because they know what you want to use this for. They know you want to use it for adventure riding. But if you didn't want to use it for adventure riding, I think it's okay, you know. You ride it around the city. It's a little big, you know, but yeah. And I always have fun ripping around on the twisties on my KLR, you know. Man, I keep on trying to reach for another gear, but there is none. We're on the top gear already, guys. We're at there's only 5 gears. So a couple things I don't like. So let me just talk. We're on the return trip. It's a KLR, man. It's good old classic KLR. If you enjoyed the old KLR, I think you would enjoy this one. All right. It's a little vibey. Whoa, man! That guy popped the wheelie. It's a little vibey. It'll do 60, 70 miles an hour, but yeah, it's a little vibey. Throttle is not too bad. It's pretty smooth, but like, when you kind of, in first gear, when you get on and off throttle, there's a little bit of a jerk to it. I kind of don't like that. My bike doesn't really do that all that much. You got to twist the throttle a lot to get it to accelerate a whole lot, you know. Typical KLR, you know. It's fuel injected. There's one thing that I like about it. It has a gas gauge. That's another thing I like about it. So, but however, with all this electronic doodads, like instrumentation, they got rid of the tachometer, man. So what gives? Honestly, I kind of like the analog gauges better. I'm not a really big fan of this digital display. If you had to compare like the second gen and the first gen instrumentation to this, I kind of like the older ones better because it had the tachometer, and you could see the needles move and everything. Yeah, you know. The only good thing about this is it has a fuel injection. It has a fuel thing. And then there's a big dash here. You can put like stuff switches for lights and 12-volt outlets and GPS mounts, so I like that. Okay, my KLR doesn't have that. I have to kind of add something like that to it. The windscreen is great. It has pretty good aero. All right, at least for my helmet. It's a pretty quiet ride, actually. It's much more quieter going in this direction, so it was really windy in the other direction. Whoa! Alright, I think we're almost there. Alright, so that's the end of our demo ride. So, yeah, man, new KLR. It's the same old KLR. It's the same old KLR, but a little bit better. Basically, it's basically fuel injected. It's got a different gauge. Its ergonomics is really nice. I really like it. I like the way it feels. Oh, where are we going? Are we going this way? I like the clutch. The clutch pull is pretty light, like a lot of modern bikes. It's pretty tall, guys. So I'm 5'10", 175 pounds, and I'm almost on my tippy toes. Almost. So it's a pretty tall bike. So those of you shorter riders, this might not be a good bike for you. Okay. But yeah, definitely I think for adventure riding, I think it would be a great bike, man. Depending on how much the price is, I will have the specs and all that stuff at the beginning of the video. Yeah, I think this is like a brand new bike. They said this is the first time they've brought them out. They brought it out yesterday. They had the debut was yesterday, and I'm riding it today. So, yeah, man. I like it. I like it a lot. Am I ready to trade my KLR in? Actually, I like the color of this one too. It's OD green. It's army green, guys. It's the same old KLR, man, and I love the KLR. If you enjoyed riding the KLR, I think you would enjoy riding this bike. All right, and like, yeah, it's got kind of better suspension too. That's what I'm gonna say. All right, thanks for the ride. Thanks, big out. Okay, guys, here's an extended video here. All right, so this is the KLR that I rode here. They have an orange one right here. Yeah, so here's the oxygen sensor right here. Looks like it's pretty much the same engine. There's the water pump here and everything. It's even got the same plastic cap on it. Oh, here's the interesting thing. The passenger foot peg here is like a guard for the brake reservoir. So one thing I don't like about this is the rear brake is they got this line that goes all the way here and it loops around that, and I kind of don't like that because a branch could go in there and just rip that right off. Okay, I don't think that's a good idea to have it loop around like that. Does the other one do that? Yeah, the other one does that too. It's got a big beefy rack. Oh, it's got a little case here for tools. That's nice. It's got Dunlop K750s, dual sport tires. I love the paint job on it. The paint looks great. I like this OD green color. It's kind of like a light olive green. It looks like it's ready for business, you know. Does it have ABS? No, it doesn't have ABS. I don't think it has ABS. Well, I like it. It looks a little sleeker than the second gen model. I didn't like the second gen model because it looked kind of bulbous looking. You know, it's kind of big. Plastics are big and everything. It could definitely use a little more power, honestly, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you modified it a little bit, you might be able to squeeze a little more power out of it. That's all I want to say. Yeah, I like the way it looks. I like the rack. It's very nice. I really enjoyed riding it. It's got a nice grab handles here, and there's like a plastic thing around it here. It's got a dash right here. Here's just the gas cap right here. Really nice. There's a radiator. The radiator's on the left side on this bike. Mine is on the right side. Yeah, there's no radiator on the left side. Yeah, the radiator's on the left side on this bike now. Yeah, and then I thought the suspension was good. Like, it would be nice to ride it off-road, but yeah, I really liked it. Okay, so yeah, there's just a little quick walk around of the bike. Typical KLR650, man, but it's back. It's back, and it's a little bit better. That's what I'm going to say. It's got these hand guards here. I would replace it with real hand guards. It's got, does it have LED lights? Yeah, it does have LED lights too. So it looks nice. The windscreen works good too. I think I wouldn't change the windscreen. It would be nice if it was adjustable. Hey, HadesOmega here. I'm running my KLR here. So this is some kind of like afterthoughts of the, you know, the new KLR, this KLR. So that newest KLR that I rode is exactly 30 years. 30 years after, 30 years of this model, after this model here, okay? So this is, that was a 2022 model. Just to give you an idea, alright? They don't have very many bright colored KLRs anymore, that's for sure. They're all kind of dark colored. They're really kind of sell it as an adventure bike is what I'm going to say, alright? Woo! It's still a great bike to ride, man. I still love riding this bike. I can't seem to get rid of it, you know? It's definitely not the most, it's not the best bike in the world, but you know what? It makes me happy. That's what I'm going to say. You know, and I think this is the bike that, this bike has treated me really well. I haven't really broken it or anything, you know? So, one thing the bike, the new KLR doesn't have is a tachometer. This one does have a tachometer. This one kind of does have a dash. It's kind of nice to see that bigger dash on the newer KLR. It's got a voltmeter on it. I don't know, well, I added a voltmeter to it, but I don't know if you can add one, if it has one on there, I can't remember. And this one has all the USB outlets and stuff. It has heated grips, but I guess you can add all that stuff onto it too, you know. Yeah, but it's just kind of the same formula, man, same bike. You know, it's a 650 single, you know, like kind of semi-dirty chassis, you know. It's got a big old gas tank and you can go the miles, you know. I wonder what kind of gas mileage the newer KLR engine gets. Like, this one always gets 50 miles per gallon. I'd imagine you could probably get better gas mileage on a newer KLR because it's fuel injected. It'll change, you know. It'll change the fueling to the, you know, the different situations you're riding in, you know. Also, it has fuel injection. It'll deal better with elevation changes. That's another nice thing about fuel injection. Alright, I kind of feel that the throttle's kind of jerky. Alright, I'm not gonna lie. It was a little jerky in first gear. Kind of didn't like that. But yeah, other than that, it's still pretty much the same bike. Alright, here's the go.